Hello. I just wanted to do a quick check-in with Such a Fun Age. Not that I've actually read that much more of it. That I'm sure I will take care of tonight in a dark episode. Well, not dark. Well, it's always dark. It's always dark here. But just, as I was going for a walk today and listening to the book, and also, funnily enough, listening to a review of something called Fake uh, Fake Famous, done over on the Breakfast All Day booktube, not booktube, YouTube channel, formerly What the Flick, where three professional critics kind of talk about movies they've seen during the week. It kind of generated some thoughts for me. Going back to Such a Fun Age to begin with, there's just the thing of like, oh, realizing this is a historical novel, which I guess I should have known that before. It's a novel that's set in the past. I talk about it being contemporary, but it's actually significantly, it is cast in an era, at least so far in the novel, where Hillary Clinton is a presidential hopeful. So, Alex, the white woman character, she's gets kind of gets into talks with them of like, let's do collaboration with Hillary's campaign. So to remember that it's a novel that is set in a time period, Obama's America, where at least where if you're a clueless white person, you might think, oh, we're actually doing quite well with race, or with just sort of human decency and stuff like that. Before we were all where people who were clueless, who don't have to suffer all the many subtle racisms, as well as the more completely in your face, aggressive, violent racism, systematic, all that, could think things were okay. And this is actually, it's a good place. I can see that it's a good place for Kylie Reid to kind of set her novel, because it's like, I'm not interested in the big R racist moments. I'm interested in all the subtle grinding down things that happen day to day, and that kind of are always there, always underneath, but can be safely ignored by white people, but are black people, or all people who are in a minority situation are is always there. They can always feel it. Whereas if you're a white person, you can be like a little awkward for a second, and then la la la, you go on with your life. And Alex is as this character, she's got this kind of interesting fascination for Amira, of trying to kind of like show herself better, like, oh, I'm gonna eat leftovers tonight, when actually no, it's like she'll call her husband, we'll get sushi or get some other expensive thing. She's hiding certain magazines, or that decluttering, a hardcover copy of that decluttering book, which is like, wow, nothing shows privilege but that owning an expensive book on how to pare back all your many belongings in your life. There's a part of her fascination with Amira is maybe also a bit of a mid or quarter life crisis thing going on with herself, of she's not the young thing anymore, and she's not driven the way she was before, and she's a parent now, which definitely I imagine must change things of how your perspective is. And also just she was an influencer. Being an influence when you're young and hot and photogenic is probably a lot easier of a thing than when you're a woman who gets past that thing of like the whole youth obsessed culture, because there's also that thing of she's obsessed with Amira about her youth, that youthfulness that sometimes as older people, you like, wow, you kind of want to hang out with younger people because you get a bit of that energy, and it's like you're a little bit of a being a little bit of a vampire. You're a little bit trying to recapture something. That is something as an older person you can see I see happening as kind of relatable. There's also the thing that Alex is an influencer, and that's where it came in with this movie, a discussion about this newly released movie on HBO Max, which I don't get, so it'll have to come to regular HBO before I will ever see it. Of 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 the idea of becoming fake famous, the whole influencers. And indeed it's influencers who they talk up products in hopes of getting more products, in hopes of getting more collaborations. It's a kind of a, I think, Alonso Duralde kind of talked about it as a bit of a Ponzi scheme of, like, you're fake famous because there's also a lot of use, at least in these people, these particular influencers, of making, building up fake followers. So and making the illusion, like, if you show yourself pretending to be an expensive holiday, even though you're just doing it in the backyard of some place with a swimming with a little children's pool or something like that, then actual resorts will, if they see you got tons of followers, which you paid for and they're actually all fake, will actually pay you to come to their resort and do stuff, and then they'll pay. Then other people will pay you, and who knows? Maybe you'll actually get real followers. You've got some people. Kim Kardashian is someone who is gigantic and has. I believe there's many actual, real, genuine human beings who probably who follow her, and follow her because she is famous. And why is she famous? Because people follow her. Kind of. That's it's that kind of snake, the kind of the snake swallowing its tail. I think, from my perspective, it's like I talk about what could be considered a product on this channel, except I'm not here trying to craft rave reviews in hopes of getting more books. The last thing I would ever want is anyone to send me a book. I have enough of those already that I don't need to be sent anymore. I want to. Sometimes it's the books I'm most dissatisfied with that are the ones I want to talk about the most. Whereas some things, like, really awesome, I'll enthuse about it, but it can be harder sometimes to actually come up with, well, what do I want to say other than I'm gonna have to try and do a review of The Great Gatsby, and yeah, it's great. Everyone else has said it great too, and have said a lot more intelligent things about it. People have said a lot of things about that book. I think if I try and be original, I'm never going to release a video on it. So Alex definitely I was like, she's getting stuff and she's just making positive reviews out of it without actually saying what she actually thinks about stuff. It's like, that's terrible. So yeah, that kind of a culture of the influencer is still very much with us, even though this is the pre-Trump. I'm going to be interested to see if the name Trump actually does come up in this book, or if that's a pointed decision by Reed not to mention the name, because Clinton's been mentioned, so it anchors us in a very certain time, which I think it's interesting because, like, yeah, I was thinking, oh, this is just a contemporary novel. No, this is a history novel. This is a historical novel. This is talking back over that gulf, or of course, this is a gulf for clueless white people. So it's historical for me, but maybe not so much for someone who comes from a perspective of no. I experienced all this racism all the way through the Bill Clinton, Obama, the Bushes, and yeah, right into Trump. And you know what? In Trump, at least it's out in the open, but it was always there. But maybe a part of this novel is that thing of the pre thing where it was it was accepted that you could be a white person and not be that clued in on race. It's not to say that I am particularly clued in on race. I'm more clued on race than I was a couple of years ago. It's still plenty to go. Still plenty to go. So yeah, I wanted to stop and talk about that because that was an interesting little thought there for myself. All right, more videos later.